Howdy, David here. If you feel easily distracted by phone calls, texts, social media, emails, stress, rumination, whatever it might be, if you struggle maintaining focus throughout the day, this call might be helpful for you. It's a clip taken directly from this week's coaching call that I hosted on concentration this morning.
When your mind is distracted, you are less efficient with your work. That's pretty obvious, right? On average, when we are interrupted by something, it takes about 23 minutes to actually get back into flow. And that, obviously is 23 minutes that stacks up each time that you check your phone, each time that, someone taps you on the shoulder to do something, each time that, an email comes through that you feel the need to respond to, right? You're less likely to accomplish the things that you set out to do. If your mind is distracted, you've made a promise to yourself, okay, I'm going to commit everything I can over the next 6 months to better myself, to show up as my best self, to really double down on this idea, on this vision that I've had in my mind for a while. If you've made that promise to yourself and your mind is distracted, the truth is you're less likely to accomplish it. And so we want to start with the root cause, which is the mind. That's what this is about. It has really negative impacts on relationships. As I said before, when I was feeling very distracted, I was suffering a lot. My relationship suffered as well. I wouldn't be present with the person I was speaking to. I would constantly be reacting to things going off in my external environment, other things that demanded my attention, as opposed to being present with the person, whom I love, that friend, that loved one, in that moment. If we're not able to take conscious control of our minds, then we're really not doing ourselves or our loved ones service. Improving yourself is the best investment that you can make to better the relationships that you have around you. And it's not just with social or intimate relationships, it's with commercial relationships. How effective do you think you'll be able to market and sell your products and services if you are constantly thinking about what you're going to have for dinner tonight, or how there's not enough cash in the bank, or how that person didn't respond to me, I wonder what they're thinking about me. It has negative impacts on our ability to show up, to build relationships with people online, on calls like this, to really grow our impact and our future. And like I said, you lose focus on the things which are important to you, your inner peace, your goals, your dreams, your loved ones, because we're constantly in reaction mode, constantly in chasing after mode, chasing after like an untamed monkey. The mind will constantly seek out the next thing. It's constantly in problem solving mode if we're not able to take conscious control of it. It's always looking for the next problem to solve. Oh, there's no stress right now. How can I create stress for myself right now? There's a problem here. I'm going to try and solve it. That's what the mind does. Unless we're able to discipline it so that it is a serviceable mind, so it works for us as opposed to against us. So how do we train ourselves out of distraction? By learning to concentrate. And when you think about it, we've never been taught how to concentrate. Ever. Cast your minds back to school, back to university. I don't know about you, but there was not a class on concentration, or how to discipline my mind, or how to, improve my level of focus. I would have loved if that class, took place at school. I think it would have had a dramatically positive impact on, on my ability to relate to my classmates, on my results, on how I did at uni. But the truth is, we have never been taught how to concentrate. And I feel really blessed to have worked with some really great teachers over the course of my journey. This is one of my teachers. His name's Daniel P. Brown. He's passed away now. He passed away last year, but he led Harvard's psychology department for about 40 years. He's one of the most well-renowned hypnotherapists, concentration teachers and meditation instructors around the world. He's a legend in many ways. And he defined the goal of concentration, which is to stabilize the mind so that the mind stays continuously and completely on the intended object. When you're concentrated, you are able to stay on, that task. If it's sending out 50 messages on LinkedIn to try and nurture relationships, to try and, develop opportunities for yourself to grow your business. It means that you're able to stabilize your mind so that you stay on those messages completely and continuously for what seems like forever. It's being able to be so concentrated that you can do the most mundane of tasks like responding to emails or data entry and actually enjoy it. By the end of this lesson, if you're out of the first 6 weeks, you'll be adopting this concentration practice, which I've adapted based on Daniel's teachings, and that will not only help you feel more focused and in flow, as it has for me, but actually feel a sense of bliss and enjoyment, even in the most mundane of tasks. That's how I'm able to enjoy the journey. That's how I'm able to, enjoy the process, right? Because that mindset is so important when we're building our business, when we're building and creating, because not everything's going to always go our way. We're not always going to be doing activities that we love. Servicing clients is great, but also, data entry, accounting, this is just personal preference, but they're not the most glorious and exciting of tasks for me. The truth is, I'm able to gain so much enjoyment out of doing them because of my ability to stay continuously and completely on that intended object of concentration. And you will too. And you will too. Because it's not about the outcomes. It's not about the $2,000 or the $4,000 or the $10,000 a month. That is a byproduct of the process. When you fall in love with the process, when you become so focused on the process of getting 1% better each and every day, of actually enjoying the ups and the downs, regardless of what happens, then you will create emotional freedom. You will create equanimity where you can't be shaken. You can't be stirred by what happens, by the bank account, by the lack of customers, by too many customers, whatever it is, because you are so concentrated, focused on, invested in the process. Now, how do we actually become more concentrated? We have to start with learning about what metacognitive awareness is. Metacognitive awareness means being aware of how you think. I want to make one thing very clear. Mental activity is not thinking. Every one of us has mental activity. Thoughts rushing around in our head, pictures flying on the screen of our minds. What am I going to have for dinner tonight? I better respond to this message. I've got, 3 emails to get through. They're just thoughts flying around in our head. Metacognitive awareness means actually taking conscious control of our minds. It means being aware of the thoughts, being aware of the mental activity, and then choosing to think thoughts which actually support me, which actually serve me, and letting go of thoughts which don't. Because the truth is, humans have a negativity bias. We love to focus on the negative. I don't have a partner right now. There's not enough money. I don't have enough time. I'm not good enough. My childhood, this and that. We become so conditioned to focus on the negative. And the news that we switch on every day doesn't help either. It's constantly showing pictures of war, of suffering, of crime, because the news media outlets know that humans have a negativity bias. They're tapping into that to spark and ignite more fear. Well, we know this, but we can choose now, using our metacognitive awareness, to reject information like that. Metacognitive awareness is really the awareness of one's thinking and the strategies one is using. When I'm with someone that is talking about the economy and how it's collapsing and interest rates and, the world is going through such a tough time right now, I can choose to accept or reject that. Now, the truth is, there are lots of people suffering. I agree. There are also lots of people who are winning, who are thriving. But the news won't show you that. In those moments, you can say to yourself, do I want to accept this information? Do I want to get emotionally involved with the fact that the economy is collapsing, businesses are shutting down, people are suffering, interest rates are rising? Do I want to get emotionally involved with that? Because I know what I'm going to get if I get emotionally involved with that. I'm just going to experience more fear, more stress, more worry, more anxiety. Is that what you want? Ask yourself now. Metacognitive awareness means being able to be mindful of what you're doing, what you're listening to, what you're digesting, what you're consuming, and why. Why am I choosing to subject myself to this information when I know it's not serving me in my goal, when I know it's not serving me in creating, a new idea, manifesting this business, this new version of myself that's consistent, that's committed, that creates, flows of income, that impacts the community, that services clients? If that's who I want to become, why would I tune into all of this negativity that's not serving me? George Bernard Shaw said 2% of people think, 3% of people think they think, and 95% of people would rather die than think. Now, I'm going to assume that because you're here, you're not part of the 95%. But like I said before, if we're going to drink some truth serum and ask ourselves, am I really thinking, or am I letting my thoughts control me? We'd like to think that we're in the 2%, but the reality is we're probably in the 3%. Now, that's not a bad thing because it can be improved, right? When we're thinking, we are choosing to use our metacognitive awareness for us instead of against us. We are becoming much more empowered in our thinking and in our behavior because we've disciplined our mind.
I'd love to hear what came up for you whilst watching that. Please send me a message, and I look forward to chatting with you soon.